First thing is, I'm Kayln. I run creativesavings.blog.com. This is my husband Joseph, and he does a lot of the background work on Creative Savings. We work together. And what really kind of led me down the path of blogging in the first place, Creative Savings is 4 years old now, and I had started probably about 8 years ago on a very personal blog that really had no idea what I was doing. I was just writing about newly married life. It was really nothing. And when I found out that you can make money blogging, I set out to have a goal that's what I was going to do. And so I became what I call myself a serial blogger, because I started about 2 to 3 different websites over the span of 3 to 4 years, trying to figure out what worked, what didn't work, what did I like writing about, what was my passion, what was my niche. Finally landed on Creative Savings, and like I said, I've been doing it for about 4 years. And as it started growing and generating revenue into more of a part-time side hustle kind of thing, I set a new goal, and that was to bring my husband home from his full-time job. Yes. Sorry, that's going to be really annoying, isn't it?
We promise not to do it too often. So as she was saying, it was one of our goals at that point to bring me home, and it was a goal that I definitely saw the benefits of. We both had some common shared goals, that not being tied to a 9-to-5 job where you have to ask someone else's permission before you can take a day off would just really benefit us as a family. But at the same time, I was a lot more cautious. A year ago, we went to a seminar, and we had a workshop from Lauren and Mark Groupman, and after that workshop, Kayln and I sat down. We're like, man, can we do this? Is this something we can do? And Kayln was all gung ho, yes, this is absolutely something we can do. And I'm like, I don't think so quite yet. And I was looking at our finances, and she's the finance person in the house, but we looked at the numbers, and her blog wasn't going to be able to support us yet. And we didn't have a runway of saved up money, 6 months, 9 months of buffer that I would have liked to be able to say, okay, let's jump into this, and we've got that money set aside, so if things don't go well, we're going to be okay. Well, 1 month later, my employer sat me down and told me in a nice way that my services were no longer required. So after spending about 10 years in an industry, there's a nice way of saying got fired. And my wife and I sat down again and say, okay, there's a job opportunity that would require a move. Do we want to do that, or do we want to try to make this work? And so we sat down and we said, okay, let's make a plan, let's figure this out, and let's make this work. And it's been almost a year now. That was last October. And the one thing that has really propelled us to get us that extra step, to get us that extra income to bring Creative Savings up to the full-time income for our family was products. And we want to tell you this morning how we launched some of our first products and the keystone product, 31 Days to Radically Reduce Your Expenses.
So we have actually 4 products right now. We have the 31 Days book, which is available in both paperback and Kindle. We have some headboard plans, which is really a kind of funny story how that product came about, and I'll explain that a little bit later. We have a printable meal plan, and then one of our first products, when we were just kind of testing the landscape, was the Modern Girl's Guide to Homemaking, which is actually a printable workbook. It's about 20 pages that help people figure out how to run their home. So one of the reasons why we like to focus on products over other streams of income is they're so versatile. You have control over the price, over the marketing, over the flexibility, and are ultimately what your loyal readers want to buy from you. And ads are great, sponsorships are great, affiliates are great. Our goal is to kind of have a quarter income, or 25% of each of those streams. Probably about a year ago, before we started working on products, we had about 70 to 80% of our income was directly from ads. And if you have advertising on your site, it's very flexible or fluctuating with the page views that you can bring in. The RPMs are different for different times of year. And so it's a lot, products are just such a great way to have more control over your income.
So the next thing, we've convinced you hopefully that products are the way to go. Products are something you want to have. And if we haven't convinced you, I'm sure the previous 2 people before us have. So you have to take your time to decide what type of product can you create. And we're going to get a little bit more specific as to what one you should create in a little bit. But what products can you create? Well, everything falls into two categories. You're going to have, obviously, you all know this, you have digital products and you have physical products. Digital products are fantastic. A few years ago, the rage was to create ebooks, and there's still lots of room in the market to create ebooks, but ebooks aren't the only thing out there. They're not the only game in town. There's lots of digital products you can create. Digital products are fantastic because once you manufacture it, once you make it, once you write it, once you build it, it's there. You have infinite copies to give out. You don't have to pay money for someone to develop more. It's there, you can just give it out, and there's no overhead costs, and there's really a low cost to entry for digital products. So some examples are digital meal plans. I Am That Lady, Lauren Groupman, built lots of these meal plans, and that's part of their full-time income. We have a friend who's a graphic designer, and all she does, she used to have a full-time job for a graphic design company. Now she just does her own graphic design. Once a week, she releases a new printable wall art, and then she sells it, and now she has hundreds of those. The really low price point, but it's her full-time income now because she just has built up a huge inventory of these printable wall arts. DIY furniture plans, again, we'll get to that funny story in a little bit of how we ended up with that on our website. Workbooks and guides, whatever your niche is, people want to know how you do what you do. So creating a detailed workbook or guide that they can download and print off is a great digital product that you can have. And printable kits, whether it's budgeting, kind of along the same lines as the workbooks and guides, whether it's organizing, budgeting, whatever it may be, having a kit that you can give them and say, this isn't just one product, there's a whole bunch here all together. Again, set it once and you're all set. And then higher price point, you can do courses and workshops. These are going to take some more of your time. They might take a little bit more technology if you do like a video course or an audio course, so it might be a little bit more challenging to put together. But at the same time, you can generally charge a higher price point because you're offering your personal expertise in the niche that you're providing. And of course, there's the physical products. Physical products do have a higher cost to entry. Planners are huge in our niche right now. It seems like everybody is putting out a planner. Planners are expensive to develop and then expensive to print. And there's just one example of a physical product, but physical products are going to cost you the money up front. So there's a big barrier to entry with physical products. So you have planners, you have t-shirts and mugs. Those products you don't have to develop yourself, but again, you're going to give it to a third party. You're going to give your design to somebody like Cafe Press, who's then going to print it for you and deliver it for you, but you're having to pay those shipping fees and those production fees. And then you have books as well. Shameless plug. 31 days to radically reduce your expenses. And then that's it. One quick thing, just a quick example of how digital products and physical products differ in the pricing and how much you can see a benefit from. We have the digital product of the 31 days to radically reduce your expenses, Kindle book, and we have the softcover book. We get $1 less if you buy the softcover book than when you buy the Kindle book. Same product, same audience, but we see more of a profit for selling Kindle books. So we love it when people buy the Kindle books. Even though there might be more prestige to having that physical copy, you're like, oh, it's actually here. It's great to sell the digital products.
So now that you sort of know like what type of products you can create, I hope your brain is kind of churning on what you might possibly want to create for your website. What type of products should you create? Because there's a huge difference here. And the last thing that we want you to do is to spend a ton of time. I think it took like 9 months for me to do that book from start to finish. You don't want to spend a ton of time on something that is just going to be a dud. And you put it out there and there's not many sales and then you're frustrated. And like Kim was talking earlier, she just had to keep creating more and more products. So there's 3 questions that I like to ask myself whenever we are thinking about creating a new product. The first is what your reader's asking for. Now, we had actually done Joseph built a headboard that I had seen a picture. I think it was like the same one in Joanna Gaines' bedroom, if you're all Fixer Upper fans. And so I was like, can you please make this for me? And because my blog is not necessarily a DIY blog, I thought, people are not going to want to know like how to make this headboard. That's ridiculous. So I did a post on how to distress the wood, using just a few simple products and put it up there. What I didn't realize is that almost every single comment after I put that up was, where are these headboard plans? We want to make a headboard. We want one just like yours. And so we're like, okay, let's give it to them. This is kind of out of our niche, but we'll try it. And so, we sat down with software, and Joseph spent a few days on that to create blueprint plans for it, drew it all up. We put it out there for less than $2, and we sell like 10 to 12 of these a week. And we have done no other advertising except for this one post. So really keep an eye on your comments. What are people asking for? What is something that you could add to your site that readers want? The second thing is, what is most popular on your site? About 2 years ago, I wrote a series called 31 Days to Radically Reduce Your Expenses, and it, for the last 2 years, has been consistently the top post on my site, the top series on my site. And so I had an idea, why don't we kind of combine this into a book? I didn't want to just copy and paste because I wanted a lot of new content, so I rewrote the entire series, added a lot more content, incorporated reader tips that we had gotten in the comments from the series, put it together in a book, and sold it. And we had an inkling that, well, if this was popular then, it's going to be pretty popular now, and it became a bestseller. So look at what you have that's popular on your site. Hopefully you all have Google Analytics and can see what's going on there and create a product around that. And then what sort of positions you as an expert? You want something that strengthens your brand. 31 Days kind of strengthened the money management portion of our website. So think about what you want to be an expert for, something that you can put, in your bio to say best-selling, author of this or creator of this product, something that strengthens you and positions you as an expert.
So once you've figured out which product you should create, the next steps are some of the most important, and that is actually starting to create that product. And this, depending on the size of the product, depending on how big of a product is, like the DIY plans that we had, that was something that we just did in our spare time. That wasn't really strengthening our brand. It's just something people were asking for. But a product like this was something that Kayln spent a ton of time preparing for the creation of the product, and that's what we want to talk about right here. So first you want to sketch out a plan, sketch out a timeline. This is an actual screenshot of part of Kayln's timeline there. Sketch out a timeline with a reasonable deadline. Look at the product, say, how big is this product that I need to make, and put a reasonable deadline. Now to do that, you're going to need to think about a couple things. First, you need to think about when you're going to launch this product. Not all times of year are equal. So for a finance book, Kayln did a lot of research and discovered that the best time to release a financial book is between the months of January and April. After April, people check out of finances and they're in summer mode, and they're not going to be as apt to buy financial self-help books. Meanwhile, January is right after everybody's gone into debt for Christmas, and through April is tax season. So during those months, people are really interested and really searching on Google for financial help books. So whatever product you are designing, there's probably going to be a specific time of year that is best for that product. Do the research, find out when do you want that product to launch, and then work your way backwards from that launch point to figure out what you need to do. Now, I stress one thing with a caveat. Leave some room for margin. Life is going to happen to you while you are doing that product. Guaranteed life is going to happen. Something is going to crop up that's going to take a week of your time that you did not expect, and you're going to have to shelve the product for a little bit of time to focus on something else. So leave room for margin so that when that life event crops up, it doesn't completely derail your whole product. However, Kayln and I have become fans of Parkinson's law. In fact, she even mentions it in the book, which is the amount of work that it takes to fill a product will expand to fill the time that you allow for it. So if you allow for 3 years to do a 6-month product, it's going to take you 3 years to do that 6-month product. So set a deadline, but give yourself that little bit of wiggle room just in case something happens. And then you're going to want to take that project and work backwards and break it down into small bite-sized pieces. So for Kayln, for the book, we broke it down into the launch section, and then she broke it down into the writing section. So she was breaking it down into writing a chapter, writing a chapter, writing a chapter, and then as we progressed further, breaking that each thing down into bite-sized pieces. Then you're going to want to carve out specific time to work on the project. You all have either you're all working from home, or you're working from home and have a job outside the home. However you slice it, you are all very, very busy people. So adding a product to your list of to-dos, I can sense it can be very overwhelming. So you're going to have to carve out specific project times. There's 2 ways to do this. You can delegate some of your current tasks that you have now, some current maintenance tasks for your websites or your blogs or your company, and just delegate those to other people, give them to other people so that it allows you some time to focus on your product. Or another temporary solution is find out which time is best for you. Is it morning? Is it night? And get up earlier or stay up later. Now, this is only a temporary solution because it's not something that you're going to be able to sustain for a long period of time unless you're one of those crazy people that only needs 3 hours of sleep. Neither Kayln or I are morning people, but I highly respected her so much when she was feeling a little bit behind on her deadline. She started getting up. Some of you are going to laugh at this, but she got up at 5:30 in the morning. For us, that's really early. But she got up at 5:30 in the morning for about 3 weeks straight and got ready, sat down, and pounded out chapters of her book in the morning before breakfast. And it got the book to the point where we were back on schedule and we were going to be able to complete the launch. Next thing you want to is focus on quality, but don't be a perfectionist. I have a friend who has been working on writing a book for a few decades now. That book was finished a few decades ago and will never be published because they're going to still work on it. And they just work on it over and over, go back and revise, go back and revise, go back and revise. So you want to focus on quality. You want it to be a great product. Kayln said that she added more content. There's probably about 70% more content in this book than there was in her original web series. But if she was a perfectionist with it, it still would not be published. So you need to set that deadline, make a quality product, but don't let yourself get stuck into that habit of constantly going back and, oh, this can be better, this can be better. Of course it can be better. And you know what? If as time goes by and we find things that we can add to this and ways to make this better, guess what? We'll launch 31 Days Radically Reducing Your Expenses, 2nd edition, and get to market it all over again. So you get to do that as opposed to never letting it see the light of day. And then you want to decide on the proper platform. There are lots of platforms out there that you're going to be able to sell your product on. These are 4 of the most popular. Gumroad is a great platform for products, especially it doesn't have to be smaller products, but if you're new to selling products, Gumroad is a great way to go. It allows you to do affiliate programs. So if you want someone else to sell your product for you and offer them a commission, you can do that through Gumroad. The fees are rather small, and it gives you a lot of control. There's Amazon, which Amazon gives you the prestige because when people click on the link and it takes them to an Amazon page, they're like, oh, wow, this is on Amazon. This is something familiar. This is a familiar system. So that's great, but their fees are a little bit higher. They do have the larger audience, and if your product does start to do well, they actually do some advertising for you, which can be helpful. Woocommerce, if you want to have a shop right on your website, Woocommerce offers plugins. We haven't had any personal experience with them, but it's a very popular platform as well. And then Etsy, if you have crafts, if you have printables, things like that, Etsy has a small listing fee per every item that you list, but I don't believe they actually take any money out if the item sells. It's just a listing fee per item.
Now, if the item sells, there is another percentage they take.
I am corrected. If the item sells, there's also a percentage that they take.
You're not an Etsy expert. All right, so this is my absolute favorite part of launching a product because you do all this work, you are ready to put it out there and you're excited, you just want to throw it on Facebook, but don't do that because you really need a marketing plan to help support your product and make it successful. When we launched 31 Days, we had over 1,100 copies sold on the first day, ranked #1 on Amazon in the budgeting and money management category, and it was very intentional to get it to that point. And so I'm going to go through sort of the marketing plan that you need to have for most products you create. I would not do this for if you're doing a small printable meal plan or a small product that you're just testing. But if you're doing a course, if you're doing a book, if you're doing a workbook that's a little bit higher priced, definitely have a marketing plan to accompany it. So 5 key elements of a successful launch. I firmly believe in a huge launch day. It might be tempting to just sort of soft sell and put it out there and see what happens, but a big launch day is going to cultivate excitement. It's going to prep your readers to buy. They're going to be really excited as you're working towards this launch day. Plus, if you are deciding to write a book and launch on Amazon, Amazon looks at the amount of sales that you make within a 24-hour period, and if it's over a certain number, then we don't know exactly what that number is, but we were able to make it with 1,100 copies that day. They will actually put it in new and noteworthy. They will bump it up. They will start putting marketing dollars behind it and putting in those, related to what you purchased kind of things, because they know that it's selling well and they want a piece of that profit too. The other thing you want to have is an incentive to purchase. We and your readers, we're all procrastinators and are not going to buy something if it's just there to purchase. So create a bonus offer that you want to add to your product list. Give it a limited time discount. We discounted it to 99 cents for the first 24 hours, which was twofold. It was to get people to actually buy the book that day, and also so that we would sell that many copies and then get bumped up on Amazon. The third thing is a professional sales page. You can definitely, put something out on your blog and present the product that way, but we have found, and we're not going to be able to see a ton of it, but we found that a professional sales page for a product makes a huge difference in making you look legit. And so there's a few things that you want to have on your sales page, and the first and most important is the benefit of purchasing. You don't want to necessarily go into what's involved or what your product contains just yet. You want to get that emotional component of what are people going to get when they have my product? What sort of happiness are they going to feel? And so for us, it was we wanted to put more money in people's bank accounts, and that's a good thing. So that's something that we put right up front. And then the second thing that you want to focus on is testimonials. These are really huge, especially if you're a little bit shy about sales and putting it out there. Getting other people to sell your product for you based on their testimonials and positive reviews is really important to also kind of giving that extra social proof. And then, of course, put a peek inside. You can, if you're doing a book, do a table of contents. If you're doing a course, explain the modules. People want to know exactly what they're getting, and so that they don't have any questions. But if they do have questions, then make sure that you always have, a sort of FAQ section so you can overcome objections. And some people, especially with digital products, get a little confused because they think you're going to send them something physical in the mail. I actually had a reader email me very angry because she thought that she was actually going to get, a physical book instead of an ebook. So make that clear. You want happy customers in your question section. And then the last thing is to make sure you have multiple call to actions on your page. If you notice, we had one at the beginning, we had one at the middle, and we had one again at the end, because at different parts on your page, people are going to be convinced to buy. And you want to make sure that you have a button right there for them when they make that decision. So the last two, I'm going to go click that button. I'm going to go really quickly because we're going to dive into these last 2 points a little bit deeper. And that's one, to make sure that you have a set of influencers to help promote your book, like a launch team. And then also that you are priming your own audience so that they can't wait to buy from you.
So Kayln was mentioning the reviews and having the people that are selling your book for you, those are going to be some of your influencers. And so let's hit this really quick, how to get a group of influencers. As you're developing your product, make a list of, start with 30 to 40 people that you would like to reach out to. These can be bloggers, they can be super fans, people that are constantly commenting on your site or emailing, responding to your newsletters, anything like that. Make that list of people, and these are going to be your influencers / your launch team. These are going to be the people that love you so much, they're going to, you know they're going to love your product, and they're going to be on social media, they're going to be putting out blog posts, they would love to promote your product. Now, a quick word of caution, it's great to make this list of influencers, people that have audiences that are larger than yours. It's absolutely fantastic if you can get people that have larger audiences that are, in the right niche. But you don't want the first time you reach out to that person to be like, hey, guess what? I'm offering this product. Would you like to sell it for me? Build a relationship with bloggers and influencers first. Make it people that you really have that relationship built with. So if there's somebody out there that's in your niche that you would love to have them, oh, it'd be so awesome if this person would promote my product. Reach out to, first start promoting some of their products on your site if you're not already. Start promoting some of their posts on your site if you're not already. Comment on their blog posts. Send them emails. Start building that relationship with them. Don't cold call them with a, hey, I've got this product. Would you be willing to promote it? Build that relationship first. So develop that list of 30 to 40 people. And then about 2 months before your launch, you want to start contacting these influencers and say, hey, guess what? I've got this product coming up in a couple months. I was wondering if you would be willing to help me promote it. Maybe you'd be willing to do a review of it. I'll send you a review copy of, or a review of this product, send you the product ahead of time so that you'll be able to review it. And then you want to offer these people a variety of options that they can use to promote your product. So you can send them and be like, hey, I was wondering if you'd be interested in promoting this product. I'd love it if you did a social share, or maybe you have a blog audience, and if you have a blog audience, maybe you'd be willing to do a post about my product. Or, I know you're a really, really busy person. I'd be willing to do a guest post for you on X number of topics that's related to my product, and in it I would talk about the product a little bit too. Would that be okay? Offer them a variety of options that they can choose from that would fit their schedule. Now, why do you start contacting them 2 months ahead of time? Well, twofold. If it's a product that's reviewable, you want to give them a chance to be able to have the product reviewed before the product actually launches. And then the other reason, which just literally slipped my head. So we're just, Editorial Calendar, thank you. Editorial Calendar, a lot of larger bloggers are going to have an editorial calendar that is 2 months out, or sometimes even more. So if you email them a couple weeks ahead of time and say, hey, I've got this product, their editorial calendar is probably going to be already full. Then you're going to want to stay in constant communication with your launch team. Send them updates. Let them know how the product is coming. Remind them of whatever option it is that they chose to promote them. Remind them of the deadlines. Remind them of, hey, this is the launch date. If they promise to do an Amazon review of your product, remind them to get that review up before your launch as well. And then keep everyone in the loop with those, and then create an influencer promotion page. This is something, again, we did this on Instapage, and this is where Kayln just put everything here. She has all the social media copy that people could cut and paste or tweak if they want. She has images that they can use to share either on their blog or on social media. And it's just a one-stop shop so that if somebody is promoting the product, they can just come here and find something that works perfectly for them.
So now that you have your launch team ready to promote, you want to actually prime your own blog audience to buy. And one of the books that I really recommend, and we're actually going to do a giveaway of this later, is Launch by Jeff Walker. If you do not have this on your to-be read list, which I'm sure is probably as long as mine, you want to put it on there. Because what I'm going to talk about now is taken from his book. I followed his formula pretty exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I believe our book was so successful. First, you want to start cultivating excitement leading up to the launch. I think I mentioned before that you don't want to just put a product out on Facebook and say, here it is, buy it. You're going to get some sales from your really loyal fans, but you're not going to get as much as you could if you sort of prepped the pump or primed the pump beforehand. So what I did and what I suggest that you do is start by sharing little, sneak peeks behind the scenes on social media of you working on the product. If you're writing a book, when you get that cover reveal or your first copy in the mail, take an Instagram photo and share it with your readers and say, hey, look at the cover, this is awesome. Your readers want to celebrate with you and they get excited. Countdown graphics are also great to sort of, as you're leading up to the actual launch day. And then as you're working on your own blog posts leading up to the launch, about a month out, I started writing very intentional posts that related to my book that gave me a chance to insert, a mention, say, hey, get on my email list and you'll be the first to find out about my new product that's coming out soon that has, whatever to do with the topic that I'm writing about. And then the other thing you want to start working on, it's a lot of work to create a product, but you want to market it and sell it right. So getting a compelling lead magnet out, lead magnet is something like an ebook or a mini challenge or a cheat sheet, something that you are going to put out, give people for free that relates to the topic or product that you have, and set it going because you want to get more people on your email list than you have before. Your email list is going to be your biggest asset, and it's also, we found consistently, where the majority of our sales are coming from. So you want to make sure that before you tell people that your product is available, make sure you get as many people on your list as possible. And then what we did is we warmed up that email list that we had started intentionally growing before the launch. We warmed them up with an email series started about 5 days before launch day. This was a series that didn't sell the book, but mentioned it organically, said it was coming, but it also provided a lot of value too. So I'll just give you an example. For 31 days, it's a finance book. We want to help people reduce their monthly expenses. So we talked about in the first email, why you should focus on reducing expenses over something like earning more income, how to track your expenses, or 3 quick wins that you can do right now to boost your bottom line. So even if they don't buy the book, they're still getting a great value from it, but it also sort of, again, primes that pump, gets your readers to buy from you. And then the best day ever is launch day. This is really exciting. You're tempted to celebrate, and you should celebrate. But you don't want to stop working, because now is when you really got to sort of do these few things that I'm about to mention. First, of course, you want to spread the word, publish a post about the story behind your product or how you came up with it, how it helped you, and why you're offering it to your readers. Email your list. I suggest you email them, well, it depends. Email them twice on the first day if you're having a limited time discount. So like we had a 24-hour discount, so we emailed them in the morning, said, hey, here's our product. And then for the people who came home from work, hadn't checked their email yet, or maybe deleted the first email, we just wanted to make sure that they knew that the 99-cent sale was going away at midnight that night. And we got a huge slew of new sales when we sent that second email. Announce on social media, of course, and if you're interested in more of an advanced technique, is you can use Facebook ads to help also push your product and promote it more and make sure that everyone, on your Facebook fan base is able to see it. I won't go into this right now, but one of the courses that I took was Absolute Facebook Ads, which really helped me understand exactly what I was doing in Facebook and ads and Power Editor, because it's all very confusing if you've ever looked at it. And then start adding promotional elements to your site. Put a little hello bar on top. I think it's like a plugin that you can have. Put a sidebar graphic on there. Go to your most popular relevant posts in the last 30 days and include a mention of your product, because you want to get this out there and you want people to see it. And then, of course, go support your influencers. They have taken time out of their busy schedule to help you promote your product. So you need to be really thankful towards them. Go visit the posts that they write, or if you've written a guest post on their blog, interact with their readers in the comments, share their social posts, because any love that you can give to them is giving love straight back to you. And then the fun part, refresh your sales reports. We did this, we were like addicted to our computer, did it every single hour on the hour, refreshed our sales reports, seeing where we stood. It's just fun because you've done all this hard work and you deserve to celebrate.
And of course, the whole point of why you created the product in the first place is you want to create passive income that's going to let you go do whatever you want, and you just get to make money while you're in your sleep. Well, we sold 1,100 copies that first day, then we sold 1,100 copies the second day, then the third day, then the fourth day, and we sold 1,100 copies yesterday. No, we didn't. Your sales are going to trail off. If you have a big epic launch, of course, you're going to have that big push of product that's going to sell that first day, and it's going to take a little bit of work to keep your product going because your sales are going to trail off, and you're never going to have that product unless you create the new iPhone 8 that has a headphone jack. You're not going to create that product that is going to sell the same amount day after day after day after day. So there's a few things you can do to keep those sales going. One of the first things, if you were here an hour ago, you heard all about creating sales funnels. And yes, create sales funnels. Kayln created the 7-day money cleanse, super related to this topic, all about getting your finances in order. And it takes people through a 7-email series that organically mentions the book and then soft sells the book, and then at the end, hard sells the book. And it's one thing that will help us keep the sales going. Consistently mention the product organically in your posts and newsletters. Find excuses to mention your product to your readers. Make it organic. Don't be like, buy my product, but find excuses to mention your products whenever possible. And then say yes to, go back to also old posts. Kayln's blog has been around for almost 4 years, so there's lots and lots and lots of content on her blog about money saving tips. So we're still in the process, actually, of going through all the old posts and finding ways, tweaking them to mention the book, 31 Days to Radically Reduce Your Expenses. Then say yes to interviews. If any of you are like my dear wife, you like spending your time behind the computer where people can't see you, people can't talk to you face to face, you'd much rather type. And she had an opportunity to go on a podcast, His and Her Money, and they called her up and they're like, hey, would you like to do an interview? And great audience. And it was something that really scared Kayln because it's just out of her comfort zone, kind of like today. And I really encouraged her, and she agreed, and she said yes to that interview. And it was something that we saw a spike in sales that day that went up. Because it's anytime you have a chance to put your product in front of someone else's audience and someone else is willing to do that work, like Kayln said with the influencers, support your influencers. So if they want to do an interview with you, say yes. Plan another sale. Plan sales in 3 to 6 months or on your birthday. I love that example. Plan a sale. You will see your sales for a 1-day sale, and then you will also probably, we haven't run another sale, but you'll probably see the sales continue for a few days after just because your product has gotten that attention once again. And then lastly, now you don't want to get on that treadmill where you feel like you're having to create thousands and thousands of products, but this product is providing us, and our other products are each providing us with a set of our income. At some point, we're actually working on a couple new products now, and at some point we hope not to end up with 300 products. But with the collective having 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 products, eventually you get to that point where you see the product part of that pie chart taking up more and more of your income and supplying more and more of your full-time income.